Hey everyone, I'm here for my 1 year anniversary. Can't believe I've been doing this for 1 year exactly today. May 31st, 2018 is when I launched the show, and well, here I am a year later. It's definitely been a fun ride for me, and I've gotten a lot of ideas done, and I haven't gotten quite as many done as I plan to by the end of this year, but um, I'm actually working on a new video, so there is hope for that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what the last year has been and where I'm going, and then certainly some of the big news that's going on in pop culture and everything, and certainly give some recommendations of things that are new and exciting and fun and I think are great, and hopefully you will too. So that's the whole point of recommending them, right? So the first year of Flix and Joysticks has been a lot of fun. I've always been someone who's been interested in film and video games, and I come from a filmmaking background. And I decided that after a lot of time, I had all these ideas, and I wanted to put them in an environment that's not really judgmental or uh, stifled, or I just kind of wanted to have some generally fun ideas, and I don't ever see myself as being a huge channel. But if it's a fun channel that people enjoy coming to, then hey, that's good enough for me. And certainly, I want to go out and make interesting content. A lot of my content this last year was familiar stuff, some past pieces that I worked on, but I went back and re-edited a couple things. That's actually a hard word to say, re-edited. But I went back and kind of made some changes. Hello, Doombot. Nice to see you again. But you did. Yeah, exactly. But I went back and made some changes. You know, the joys of learning how to edit. I use Vegas, the editing program, and I wasn't that great at it, and especially when, versus my camera versus my laptop. Whenever I use my laptop, there's always like a syncing issue. So if you see in some of those earlier videos, I know it looks like one of those badly dubbed foreign films. And I went back and changed a lot of it and made a lot of it better. I think some of my redos actually made one or two scenes a little worse, but I think overall I'm more happy with the quality of everything. And yeah, I think the videos turned out well, but that's not to say that the last year has been entirely just, retreading old videos and doing some slightly George Lucas special editions on those. That was not the case. Um, I went out and had a lot of fun new videos, a couple reviews. I had fun doing Batman. That was one of my first and earliest reviews. Had a lot of interesting pieces that actually resonated well with viewers. And first off, thank you for watching them. It's always hard to figure out what is going to be the next big thing, as though anyone can ever really know exactly what that is. Otherwise, everyone would have millions of viewed trending videos all the time if that were the case. But what I found interesting, as for my first couple videos that really took off, people really like watching board games being unboxed. I thought that was interesting. People really liked watching Fireball Island getting unboxed, and then I've actually got a new board game that I'm going to be unboxing in the next few weeks. Something I picked up. It's a re-release. All these re-re's. It's a re-release of the original Death Star board game from the classic Star Wars line, except that this time they put in a Grand Moff Tarkin action figure that's designed to look like it came from the original toy line, which I think is really cool because of all the figures that they did, and they really put out a lot of background characters in the original Star Wars toy line run. They never did a Grand Moff Tarkin, and now in 2019 they have. So it's kind of just a new figure for the continued toy line, and again, that's really cool. There's been some misfires with Star Wars, but then there's been some really neat ideas. I think if they could just find a nice balance between old and new and satisfying everybody in between, I think Star Wars will find its way back in places that it kind of got a little lost. Because I know Disney's like, oh, we need to take a break from it as they're releasing Episode 9, and actually Star Wars Galaxy's Edge just released today in at Disneyland. That whole big new world, and that's from all the promo videos I've seen of it, it's so cool looking. I'm gonna have to go back to Disneyland pretty soon. I think that's pretty much a given. And so a lot of the other ideas that took off well is creating Rem Lazar. It was this cheesy 40-minute mini film that came out back in the late 80s. And I've always been kind of like, I wanted to make a review of it, and I never got around to it. And I did. And what was funny is it did okay. You know, on average, my videos do about 30 to 50 views on standard average for right now. But then Red Letter Media decided to do a best of the worst with that and did Creating Rem Lazar. And then all of a sudden, my video jumped up about 70 extra views. So thanks, Mike, Rich, and Jay. I appreciate it. That was very cool of you to give a shout out to that movie. And Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas was another big hit. Yes, do 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 do. Yeah, stop it! I'll be singing that for the rest of my life. I don't need to do that. Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas was another big one that took off. That was, they showed it last year in movie theaters, and I got a chance to see that, as well as the Fraggles Christmas, the Carol of the Bells special, which I'd actually never seen. I just never got around to it, but now I can say I have. It was fun. It was definitely really cool seeing Emmett Otter on the big screen, and that one did really well. And then, of course, one of the other things I've learned, if you cover conventions like any of these cons, that usually people like seeing, especially like if you get pictures of them, like, you know, running around conventions like cosplays and things like that. People like seeing that stuff, and especially just running around showing off, and you know, that was fun too for me. So those are some of the successes of the last year. Oops, got a little guest star. Got this guy right here, Frodo. He got his hair cut today, and he's wearing a Snoopy bandana. So he's as you remember him from the Christmas video, sometimes they appear. He always looks so miserable. He's on camera though. It's like I've taken his soul. He's like, why am I here? I just wanted to say hi. But I'll let you down, buddy. I'll let you down. There you go. He just want to say hi. Oh, he's going to sit in my lap? Oh, he's kind of sitting in my lap. He decided he's not going to leave after all. I have no idea what you're doing, dude. But yeah, so it's been some interesting, you know, it's a learning process about finding what really resonates with the audience. And you know, that's been an interesting challenge. It's been fun because it's like, you know, I throw this out, and I do a lot of these videos just because I find the subjects interesting. I'm not going to necessarily, unless somebody brings up something and it's like, hey, that sounds like it'd be fun to explore. You know, I have a bunch of ideas for movies. I don't really want to cover as many mainstream movies as I started out with. I only did a few, but I think I want to start regulating those to the what am I watching, what am I playing segment that I do. I think that might be a little bit more fun for more mainstream. I want to cover more obscure stuff. And I want to do some different ideas. I don't want to do like, hi, here's my 50,000th movie video or my next game video, which I'm still absolutely going to do. But I don't want to make it where it's just that, and that's, you know, all you get, because I don't want to limit the content to the point where it's like, that's all he's got. That's his whole shtick. So one of the videos I did that I was really proud of back in late March was when I went to the town of Spectre, Alabama, from Big Fish. And that was a fun little mini documentary. And I've actually got a couple others that I want planned down the line. So, hey, buddy, how you doing? I've got Frodo's licking at my feet. He's being pesky. I just got home a little while ago, so he's definitely happy to see me. So I've got some other ideas. I want to start really traveling around and finding unique, quirky, weird stuff and start videotaping it. And I have Keira Knightley leering over my shoulder. I just looked in the videos, like she's like seriously intent on this video. It's kind of funny. I hadn't planned that. But for ideas that I want in the future, like the next video I'm doing is a video of just some of my video store memories. And you know, I don't want to get all crazy about, you know, like hype my stuff, or like, you know, Jay Sherman from The Critic, buy my book, buy my book. I'm actually working on a book about pop culture, movies, movie theaters, video game, arcades, malls, things like that. So that should be fun. And it's given me a lot of understanding about not only the places around my hometown, and but it's also given me an opportunity to really understand the mediums themselves. And so I want to talk more about video stores and the like. And there's actually a place in Austin, Texas called I Love Video. And my goal is to go down there and really show this off. This has like been around since 1984 and is supposedly one of the biggest surviving video stores out there right now. And believe me, there's not many. So I want to go check that out and really share things like that. So I've got a couple movies planned. I planned before I moved. I planned to do Little Shop of Horrors, and that never took off the ground. And I plan to eventually. That's still on my list. All my ideas, like it's like, oh, I moved. Oh, it's done. It's over. But the next one I want to do is Little Shop of Horrors. I'd like to do Amazon Women on the Moon, and there's a couple others. I just saw Malibu Express from Andy Sidaris, and I don't know if you have seen any of Andy Sidaris's films. A lot of boobs, bullets, and just blood. They're so funny. They're so ridiculously over the top. It's like, oh, the scene's dragging. The lady takes off her top, and so, or a car explodes, or motorcycle chase. They're so weird and fascinating movies. I don't know if you've ever seen Hard Ticket to Hawaii, the one with the giant python that goes around killing everybody because the python is also infected with cancer-ridden mice. It's so weird. I'm explaining it badly, but it's like basically the venom is like supercharged with like uh, cancerous substances from lab rats. It's so weird, and yeah, it probably is one of the greatest endings of all time. Just how they deal with that snake. Um, but I want to get into other movies, not just what is obscure film, but I want to get into a lot of films that aren't really talked about on videos, things that you don't hear on every video, because it's like everyone's going to be covering the next Marvel movie, and everyone's going to be covering the next Star Wars movie, and whatever's going on in theaters. And as I said, I will still cover some of that in my another section, but I do want to got this little guy right here hanging out, but he's like getting kind of crazy with me, so he just hangs out. What is that symbol? Oh, it's a movie camera. I didn't know what that was. I thought it was like a weird alien or a shaved dog. I wasn't sure what that was. But yeah, I want to talk about movies that people just don't talk about, and especially like old cult video games. And I don't want them to be just again a talking head like this. And I want to actually go out and try to make some interesting kind of sketch comedy kind of stuff, or even just like little unique adventures that go with the movies. So got a couple things planned. Also did an interview recently with a guy named Todd. He's actually doing some things about pop culture, Texas-based comics and things like that. Like Marvel did a whole series back in the 80s of like Marvel comics and Spider-Man and Hulk and X-Men all running around various parts of Dallas. And those were fun. They were done by the Dallas Times-Herald. And those are really, really cool little comics they give away for free in the paper. So I have a weird, unabashed love of those as well. And so I got to talk about it, and that was a lot of fun. And I don't know when the documentary will come out, but whenever it does, I'll certainly share it. Oh, there you go, buddy. Thing with the dog who wants to sit in your lap and then leave. So I've got a couple ideas. I mean, there are games that I want to get into. I mean, and I want to do like Let's Play sessions, and I want to do. There's a lot of ideas. I want to really go out and I want to travel more. I want to like find some really unique things and just share some of my personal experiences, not just like regular things like here's me in front of the Grand Canyon or here's me at eating at a restaurant. No, it'll be movie themed or at least pop culture themed. I'll try to make sure that everything stays within a subject matter. So today has been pretty cool in terms of watching the online chatter this week, because, as I said, Disneyland's Star Wars Galaxy Edge opened up today. And I don't know if you've seen pictures. I had a friend who actually went and said it was just amazing. But the pictures are absolutely amazing. And I was interested, and then I saw the videos, because Disneyland and Star Wars have been dropping videos left and right about this thing. And it's like, the more I see about it, the more I want to actually do this. So I don't know if I'm going to last very long before I'm like, we got to hit the road and we got to go see this. So that is something I definitely want to check out. But it's beautiful, and apparently it's almost like a Westworld sort of thing, where they're like, all the cast members really get in character, and depending on what you do around the park, they'll start interacting with you and treating you differently as such. And that sounds super fun. And everything I've seen from the gift shops, I'm probably going to go broke and or insane, or have to get an extra room. I don't know what's going to happen, but I figure I'm going to go and buy a bunch of Star Wars crap, and it will be awesome, and I will have no regrets. So I'm looking forward. I will probably go to Disneyland first. It's been about 2 years since I've been to Disneyland, and it's, I used to go there all the time when I lived in California, and I miss it a lot. So I want to go check that out very soon, both for Star Wars and just because it was like my thing. It was like my second home in California. One of the cool recommendations that I want to talk about right now is actually a comic that just came out from Marvel. Marvel's getting into its whole 80 years of everything. This issue right here, it is Star Wars 108. I know Star Wars currently has an ongoing series, but this one was based off the old Marvel series that ran from 77 to 85. And they stopped at issue 107. Well, this is a one-off special, like I said, that actually continues all the story. I mean, it goes under that Legends canon, but it's the characters they introduced in the comics. And reading it, and I actually, it's probably the biggest comic I've been excited about in a while, but reading it, it was really fun, because I think the artists and the writers really captured the look and the style and the way everything felt. I think one of the biggest things I liked about this particular comic is that it felt uncomplicated. It was just another fun adventure with Han, Leia, and Luke. And it was post Return of the Jedi, and it felt very much in tone of how the original Marvel series felt, because you have to think about it. Back then, it's like they had Star Wars in 77, and then Empire in 80, and then they had Return in 83. But between those 3 years, they couldn't either talk about plot elements, or they didn't really know what was going to happen. Or, I mean, it was a lot of things. Like, one of the things that they did right after they did an adaptation of the original Star Wars movies, which was like the first 6 issues of the comic, they did like this Magnificent Seven Samurai sort of thing, where Han Solo and Chewbacca met up with a bunch of like pirates and smugglers and other odd characters. And one of them was there was like a guy who believed he was a Jedi, and his name was Don Juan Quixote, which, yeah, that's like the most pun name ever. And then they had this giant green rabbit named Jackson, which apparently Lucas despised, and they made him go away, which is funny because, a tall, floppy-eared character that was kind of annoying. So, I guess he was inspired a couple years later with Phantom Menace. But so they brought Jackson back for this new issue, and they actually brought quite a few characters back from the original series, and they kind of did them in this great big, again, just, they're not bound to canon, or not bound to all the rules. Certainly they follow more of the old timeline, and it was that undiscovered country, because Star Wars was so new that you could kind of do anything with it, and it really shows. And I like that it's just more of a fun adventure. We don't really care about making sure everything's 100% accurate, but what's funny is it's very, very accurate to the original comic. And that was probably one of the biggest highlight comics that I've read in quite a few months, actually. So if you love the old Star Wars Marvel series, or if you just like something kind of fun, I'd highly recommend it. And it's also kind of funny. It's like I mentioned with the Star Wars board game and then the Star Wars 108. It's like we're getting additional pieces of the original runs of things back from when I was a kid. So, it's like another new action figure from my original line, another new comic from my original line, which is probably the smartest thing that this new version of Star Wars has done. It's placating all us old timers who have been there since the start, and it's fun. I mean, it's just a nice way to give a little nod and a little love, and it's like, hey, we get it. You've been there since the start, and you had all this weird stuff that now you get more. And hey, cool, thanks. So I can't believe it's been a year. Uh, I'm glad I have made it this far, and it hasn't been as busy on the site as I would like it, just because it's like I work all the time now, and it kind of makes it hard to actually make or edit videos. It's like I've got a million great ideas, I just have no time to do it. But um, as I said, I'm working on a new video right now, and I hope to have it up in the next few days. That's like my goal. I just want to sit down, because this one's actually time intensive, because I've got all these old archival photos from everything. I'm using a lot of stuff that I would like to use in my book, but I don't think is going to happen just because of spacing issues. So I'll just use it here. You'll get to see all these cool old, retro vintage ads of video stores and movies and things like that. So I'm looking forward to being able to share some stuff that probably hasn't been seen in like 30 years. So it'll be a fun video. I'm definitely excited, for those who remember the old video store days. They'll definitely like get into what I'm talking about, and especially like back when like what's really cool is I like found out when a bunch of ads and articles and things like back when like the video rental craze was really starting. This was like the ground floor of it, and it's like they're doing all these expensive memberships, and we've got a couple hundred tapes and all these other things. And again, it's just so weird and wild that they did all these crazy ideas trying to like figure out what exactly can you do with a video store. I think that's what I liked about all that, all this stuff, like from all the retro stuff. It's like there were no rules, there were no guidelines. They just made it up as they went along, and if it worked, they stuck with it, and if they didn't, then they went off to another whole aspect that might do better. Isn't that right, Kira? Yeah, it's like I'm like doing this video, but also I can't stop like staring. It's like it's so funny. She's just like right there. I'd probably move over, but eh. So anyway, I've got a lot of great ideas. I've got at least 3 videos planned. I'm working on one right now. I'm going to be working on another one very shortly right after, and then I will be doing a little bit of 1-year anniversary stuff this month. I'll probably do like a little retrospective of the first year, kind of a little capsule of some of the adventures and events and things like that. So I'm looking forward to it. It should be fun. It's just a matter of being able to sit down and actually work on this stuff properly. But I plan to actually be spending some time over the next few days to get some of this going. And like I said, I hope to get the video store video out very soon, within the next few days. In an ideal case scenario, it'll be done by this weekend, but if not, Monday or Tuesday. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. But yeah, it's been fun. I've really enjoyed this year. I've had a small following, but I've had a very dedicated following. And I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone who has introduced themselves to me and talk and share comments and like the videos and let me know what I'm doing. Again, uncharted territory. You're letting me know what is working, what is not. And I'm able to make decisions there. And going forward in year 2, I will be making decisions that will be guided by some of that. But again, I'll be doing a lot of videos that some of you guys will probably not even think about asking me. So hopefully it'll be a fun journey where you get to discover some new things and I get to share some of the things that I really loved. Well, that's it from first video. And I really appreciate you guys coming out and saying hello. And if you're late to the video being live, certainly you are welcome to check it out, comment below, let me know if you have any favorite memories or any videos that you particularly liked of the first year run. Certainly let me know. Or if you have any suggestions, or if you think there's something that's like really, really cool that I should definitely, just check out, whether it's a video or a movie or a game or just in life in general, then certainly share that with me. And, definitely, if I can find a way to talk about it on here, then I definitely will. But anyway, thanks a lot, you guys. I appreciate it as always. Thanks for coming out and spending my first year with me on Flix and Joysticks. Again, whether live or just checking out the videos. And again, thank you so much for being a part of this. And as always, I will see you that next time. Take care, you guys. Happy birthday to Flix and Joysticks.